Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Embodied Resistance. I'm your host, Tori, and I'm so excited and deeply honored to be sharing this space with you. In this podcast, it is dedicated to exploring the intersections of dance movement therapy, harm reduction, and the lived experiences of gender-diverse youth impacted by school violence. Here we will hold space for stories, practices, and conversations that center the body as a site of resistance, healing, and radical care. What does it mean to come home to a body that has only ever been a battlefield? What does it mean to return again and again to a self that the world keeps trying to erase? Welcome to Embodied Resistance. This isn't just a podcast. It's a remembering, a reclamation, a soft, firm refusal to keep living in systems that punish us for being fully human, for feeling too much, needing too much, and loving too hard. A little bit about me. I am a queer, non-binary dance movement therapy graduate student. I'm a therapist in training and someone who believes deeply in the transformative power of embodied expression. My why for this podcast and for the work that I do is personal and political. I'm doing this work for the youth who didn't have someone to truly see and support them. I'm doing this for Nex Benedict and the many others who experience violence simply for existing in their truth. I'm Tori, I use they, them pronouns, and I created this space because I was tired of pretending healing could only happen in a therapist's office, with the right words and the right diagnosis. As a therapist and movement practitioner, I've witnessed firsthand how trauma lives in the body, how fear, disconnection, and grief take root, and how movement can offer a way back to ourselves. In this podcast is a place to explore that return. Embodied Resistance is for anyone invested in healing justice, therapists, educators, artists, community organizers, survivors, students, and especially the queer, trans, two-spirit, intersex, and non-binary folks who continue to navigate systems of harm while building pathways to joy and liberation. Whether you're a practitioner, an ally, or just curious about movement can be a tool for healing, this space is for you. Let me define some key terms before we dive deeper into the series. Some few definitions of terms that will come up often. Dance movement therapy, or abbreviated DMT, is a psychotherapeutic use of movement to support emotional, cognitive, physical, and social integration. It's about more than dance. It's about tuning into the wisdom of the body. Harm reduction. Set of practical strategies and principles aimed at reducing the negative consequences of systematic harm and oppression. It's grounded in dignity, agency, and meeting people where they are without judgment. When we talk about gender diverse youth, we're referring to young people whose gender identities or expressions exist beyond or outside the binary. This includes trans, non-binary, intersex, two-spirit, and gender-expansive youth. School violence isn't just physical bullying, it includes systematic violence like misgendering, exclusion, lack of affirmation, and institutional practices that punish rather than support. Because here's the truth, gender diverse youth are being hurt every day, not just by their peers, but by policies, by classrooms, by silence, by being told directly or indirectly that who they are is wrong, too much, not enough, and a disruption. And what kind of violence doesn't just touch the mind? It settles into the nervous system. It alters how you breathe, how you move, and how you exist in your own skin. But what if the body wasn't just the site of pain? What if it also is the place where we begin to heal? I'm training to be a dance movement therapist, but this isn't about titles. This is about movement as medicine, about harm reduction as love, about school as a place that could actually keep us safe, about gender of queer, trans, intersex, and two-spirit kids who deserve more than survival. Embodied Resistance is where we imagine what more could look like. In each episode, I'll be in conversation with someone whose work lives at the intersection of movement, trauma, identity and care, therapists, artists, educators, healers, and survivors. We'll talk about what it means to hold grief in the body, what it means to build safety, and when safety has never been given, what it means to feel joy, even when the world tells you you're not allowed. Sometimes it'll just be me and you, breathing, reflecting, moving. Letting your body be part of the conversation, not just the container for your pain. And I want to be clear, when I say trauma, I'm not talking about isolated events. I'm talking about systems. I'm talking about the violence of being misgendered every day, the violence of not seeing yourself in your teachers, your textbooks, your therapists, the violence of walking through a hallway and flinching before anything even happens. I'm talking about the nervous system on constant alert and the toll it takes to just keep going. But I'm also talking about resistance, the kind that lives in quiet breath. The sway of your hips when you finally feel safe, and dancing when you're told to sit still, in softness, in rage, and staying alive. So if you're listening, this is for you. For the kid who got kicked out of class for crying, for the trans student afraid to go to the bathroom, for the queer teen reading books under the covers looking for someone who feels like them, for the adult still unlearning what was done to them in childhood, for the healer, the teacher, the caregiver, trying to do better, trying to do different. You don't have to have the right words. You don't have to be fixed. You just have to arrive as you are. Because your body is not the problem. It's the story, the map, the portal. Embodied resistance means we're moving towards healing, even when healing feels impossible. We move towards each other. Even when the world tries to keep us apart, we move, because stillness was never safe. We move, because movement remembers what we've survived. We move, because we're still here. I hope embodied resistance can be a space not only informs but affirms, one that uplifts the body-based healing as a form of justice and amplifies the voices of those who are too often been punished to the margins. Thank you for being here, whether you're stretching on your mat, walking through your neighborhood, or just pausing to listen. I'm grateful you've chosen to join me. Until next time, take care, stay grounded, and keep moving towards healing.